Recorded live from my apartment in Los Angeles, California, I'm your man Nathaniel, and this is the Weekly Watchlist. Welcome back to another edition of the Weekly Watchlist, a show where we count down the best movies and TV to stream right now on Prime Video. Joining me today, we have a special guest, an incredibly talented entertainment journalist, TV and film critic, with bylines in Complex, Collider, The Beat, Shadow and Act, and lots more. It's KB, here to help us dive into this week's watch list. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Nathaniel, for having me on this episode. Now, as you know, we are currently in Black History Month, woo-woo, and while I'll always believe that we should learn more about and celebrate the Black experience and Black excellence all year round, I'm still thrilled that I get to share a very special list with you guys. This week's list is made up entirely of Amazon originals by and/or featuring visionary Black talent. There's everything from throwback romance to a gut-wrenching documentary and even epic film cycles. These are some of the very best films to come out in 2020. So what are you waiting for? Check out the best contemporary Black cinema to stream right now on Prime Video. Up first on our list, we have arguably the greatest cinematic crossover event since the Avengers. It's Regina King's feature directorial debut, the adaptation of Kent Powers' original play, One Night in Miami. Cassius Clay, Malcolm X, Jim Brown, Sam Cooke. Who wouldn't want to watch these four icons hang out and be the complex humans we often didn't get to see?
You know I'm the greatest. Yeah. Who's the greatest? You are. That's right. Malcolm, come on, put that line down. Come over here. Someone get a picture of us.
This ensemble piece follows Cassius Clay's title-winning fight with Sonny Liston. In celebration, all four men spend one memorable night together in a motel room amidst the cultural upheaval of the 60s. With each man at a crossroads in their respective careers, it's a deeply vulnerable, thought-provoking evening where they ask themselves and each other what it means to use fame and success to be change makers in our community.
You know, what is going on between the nation and me, Sam?
But you still obey them when they tell you to come out here and recruit Cassius to become a member of something you don't even seem to believe.
I'm not making Cassius do anything. He came to me for insight. He had questions. His passion for Islam comes from a pure place, Sam.
Passion is kind of a strong word.
While a myriad of profound performances occur, it's Kingsley Benadir's performance as Malcolm X that grabbed me the most.
Which one of us don't belong?
Don't belong.
Don't belong.
Brother Sam, the only person here white people seem to like, that would be you.
Hey, y'all need to cool it now, man.
You know, you always manage to just be around for shit.
Now, apart from him planning the worst after party on screen and serving solely vanilla ice cream, Kingsley brings quiet strength, vulnerability, and uncertainty that shines, but is also even a bit heartbreaking.
Hi, Daddy.
Hey, sweetheart. What are you doing up so late?
Malcolm has a hard time seeing beyond his narrow scope and vision for equality in the world, and that causes tension between him and Sam Cooke that only Jim Brown could set straight.
I just wonder if all this pushing and hardline this and hardline that is really about trying to prove something to white people, or Malcolm, is it about trying to prove something to black people?
Oh, well, it's a very interesting way of looking at things, I suppose.
Regina King's featured directorial debut soars, and this was the first movie and the Venice Film Festival official selection to be directed by a Black woman. King masterfully captures each actor's ability to shine, while also showing each character's ability to reflect on humanity and mistakes in their lives through difficult conversations and exposing hard truths. It's really, really cool to watch these Black role models in more unguarded personal moments, still figuring out things in life apart from their invincible public personas. Coming in at number 2 is the kind of movie that takes you on an emotional roller coaster of love. It's director Eugene Ash's gorgeous and heartbreaking period melodrama, Sylvie's Love. This film is a reinvention of 50s golden age studio system romance pictures, but centering Black love. The talented Tessa Thompson plays Sylvie, a young woman who loves TV, spending all day parked in front of the set at her father's record store. That's where she meets Nnamdi Asomugha as Robert, a handsome yet struggling saxophonist who gets a job in the shop to support himself.
All set.
That will be $3.
How much is a discount if you work here?
We're not hiring.
Well, this sign says you are.
See, my fiance is over in Korea, and my mother won't allow television inside the house, so I have to come here to Daddy's store every day to watch my shows until Lacey comes home and we get married and I can finally have a TV of my own.
The two have an easy chemistry as they talk about music and learn more about each other. Sylvie wants to be a TV producer despite being engaged to the son of a rich doctor. Robert is in a jazz band playing in New York for the summer. The situation inevitably heats up as Sylvie and Robert begin to realize their undeniable attraction to each other.
Been practicing that?
When Robert's band leaves the city to go tour Paris, secrets and circumstance keep Sylvie from leaving with him.
I almost thought you weren't coming. I'll get your suitcase.
Robert.
There isn't any suitcases there.
No.
Years later, and in much different places in their lives, the two young lovers reconnect after a chance meeting.
Robert?
Sylvie?
What are you doing in New York?
We're recording an album.
The score is amazing, and the production design and cinematography are stunning. As Sylvie and Robert climb their respective career ladders in various aspects of showbiz, they grow and lean into the beauty of making mistakes before eventually finding their way back to each other. While the civil rights movement is mentioned in the background, this is a romance that isn't centered on racial injustice. Black love and Black joy are revolutionary acts in themselves, and Eugene Ash's vision for this film is radical in its portrayal of such. It's exhilarating to see Sylvie and Robert as real people, focused on their hopes and dreams for the future and enjoying the love in their lives. If you're in the mood for love, this movie will have you wide open. Next up at number 3 is the Academy Award shortlisted documentary, director Garrett Bradley's expressionist nonfiction film, Time. It's the incredible personal story of Sybil Fox Richardson's 20-year struggle to get her husband paroled from the U.S. incarceration system. Fusing modern-day footage intercut with decades of home video recorded for her incarcerated husband, Time is both a harrowing and life-affirming story about the failures of the judicial system when it comes to Black and brown people, and also making up for lost time. In a youthful act of desperation to save their small business, Fox and Rob attempted to rob a bank in 1997, for which Rob received a 60-year sentence.
When I dropped my husband and his nephew off to rob a bank, immediately after they got out of the car, I knew. We had entered into a world that we would never forget.
Fox gives birth to twins during Rob's sentence, hoping he'll be out in time for their formative years.
When my mother and father were arrested for robbing a bank, she ended up having a set of twins, one of them being myself and the other being my twin brother, Freedom.
She moves the family closer to the Louisiana State Penitentiary, where she can visit Rob only twice a month. In the intervening years, Fox raises her family, works day and night to get Rob paroled, and becomes an advocate for prison abolition.
Oh, we're going to be going live. If you cannot make it tonight, then I would ask that you catch the live broadcast at 7 p.m. on my Facebook page, because we will be posting live from the experience. Listen, it's more than a conversation, y'all. It is definitely an experience, and I hope you can meet me there. Tulane University, 7 p.m. tonight at the Roger Memorial Chapel. Peace and love.
This moving documentary tackles themes of justice, healing, and forgiveness. Set in the weeks leading up to Rob's latest parole hearing, the film poetically jumps back and forth through time as we journey alongside the Rich family, waiting for drips of new information and holding out hope that Rob will be released. Fox's transparency creates empathy for her family's situation. You can't help but admire Fox's never-ending persistence in trying to move the case through the infuriating bureaucratic red tape of the penitentiary system. This is a stunning work from Garrett Bradley, who won the Best Director Jury Prize at the 2020 Sundance Film Festival. Extremely cinematic with a great soundtrack and distinctive visuals that concentrate on the personal stakes of the Rich family story and their harrowing emotional turmoil. Altogether, it's a complicated, depressing, inspiring story about the ache of absence and the time we can never get back. Rounding out our Black cinema list at spots 4 through 8, we're heading across the pond with films that center around the West Indian community in London through the 60s, 70s, and 80s. It's master filmmaker Steve McQueen's anthology, Small Axe. Inspired in part by McQueen's own background as the child of immigrants, Small Axe documents the vibrant, personal stories of West Indian London communities set against the rampant discrimination and racism they face day to day. There's Mangrove, about the real-life trial of the Mangrove Nine, who fought against the racist harassment of the Metropolitan Police Force.
The Mangrove is now a focal point for Black people to come and sit, talk, and exchange views. We need to defend ourselves against Powell and his rivers of blood nonsense.
There's Lover's Rock, a love letter to the incredible bashments, aka Caribbean house parties of the 80s, not only a community response to Black people not being allowed in nightclubs at the time, but a space for us to be free amongst ourselves, to find love and joy, if only for one night. There's Red, White, and Blue, starring John Boyega as a Black police officer trying to reform the racist Metropolitan Police Department from the inside. There's Education, about one family's struggles in the segregationist practices of the British school system.
Low expectations from primary and secondary school teachers, which I have seen with my own eyes in regards to my own children, are part of the problem.
And finally, there's Alex Wheatle, a coming-of-age story about a modern Dickensian orphan raised in all-white foster homes, learning to fit in as a young Black man in West London.
My mother puts on a serious spread. You wanna come stop at the Jamaican jam on the day? I don't like Christmas.
What? The authentic performances not only give us London patois, but also the cultural nuances of the West Indian community, down to how West Indian parents respond to disapproval. Steve McQueen's ability to pull off a successful film anthology represents an artist at the peak of their craft, paving the way and changing the game. Almost like when Beyoncé dropped her self-titled visual album out of thin air in the middle of the night. McQueen is one of our best directors, and his ability to distill complex ideas of community and injustice into single images is untouchable. So do yourself a favor and stream all of Small Axe right now. KB signing off, and thank you again to Nathaniel.
And there you have it, the best contemporary Black cinema to stream right now on Prime Video. And special thanks to KB for breaking down these amazing films for us. Thanks again, KB.
You got it, Nathaniel. Thanks for having me.
What'd you guys think of this week's list? What are some of your favorite Black-directed films that we left off? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, don't blink, always be streaming. Now, if you think humans should be the ones recommending movies to people and not robots, be sure to comment and like. Check out more of the Weekly Watchlist with me, your man Nathaniel. New episodes every Friday. And if you really love cinema, I know you're going to subscribe.